Good morning, welcome to CATEX-TV. My name is Frank Fortunato. This is a live broadcast from London. Today is Thursday, November 4th, 2010. It's 11:30 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time in the U.S. It's 3:30 p.m. in London. 3:30 p.m. in London. There's a 4-hour time difference this week. If you need to reach us, our toll-free number is 866-67-CATEX, CATEX. Overseas, our AOL instant mail address is CATEX-TV. Well, we've got some pretty big news, actually. If you're the European Aviation Defense Consortium who makes Airbus, EADS, you are quaking in your boots this morning. Last night, a A380, one of the 500-passenger airplanes, was forced to make an emergency landing in Indonesia 15 minutes after takeoff from Singapore when one of its engines disintegrated. Not caught on fire and shut down, disintegrated. Parts of the engine cowling, parts of the engine turbine, parts of the engine blades landed on villages in Indonesia and were brought into cities for the police to appropriate. The plane landed safely. It was Qantas Airlines flight number, get the flight here, Qantas Airlines flight number 23, flight number 28. It was initially coming from London. It was bound for New Zealand with a stopover in Singapore. According to some commentators in the industry, this is a fairly massive internal failure. Now, what Qantas has done is they have immediately grounded their entire fleet, all 6 of the giant Airbus A380s. There are several other carriers that operate the A380s, of course Air France being one, Emirates Airlines being the second, and Singapore Airlines being the third. There have been no comment yet from any of those airlines as to what they're going to do with their jumbo jets, and these are obviously super jumbo jets. The concern, of course, is that sometimes incidents like this happen, but usually in older planes, not planes that are 5, 6, 7 months old. So there's tremendous concern in the aviation industry right now. If this develops into a structural failure, we could have some very significant reinsurance effects, to put it mildly. Finally, one other thing here. German police have appeared in Athens this morning. They're helping in the investigation of a series of parcels that have had bombs in them that were mailed to leaders, including Angela Merkel, the German Chancellor. The bomb was also supposedly mailed to the Italian Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi, and one was apparently also mailed to French President Nicolas Sarkozy. The package actually contained explosives and actually reached the countries and were discovered in some instances, in the case of Germany, in the mailroom of Mrs. Merkel's office. Yesterday, the U.S. Federal Reserve announced plans to put more money into the American economy. They're going to pump in an additional $600 billion of so-called quantitative easing. This has earned the moniker of QE2, quantitative easing the second, because there was obviously quantitative easing the first. They're going to pump in about $110 billion a month for the next 5 months. The way they're going to be doing it is apparently by buying Treasury assets, Treasury notes themselves, I should say. This has had a very positive effect on the world economy. The FTSE 100 has jumped 1.4%. The Nikkei, Hang Seng, and Shanghai indexes have all closed strongly higher. So this is being perceived as good news. The European Central Bank meeting is today. It's not expected that they're going to do anything in terms of an interest rate change. In Iran, this is very interesting news. Here's Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, the Iranian president. Later on this month, he is going to cut subsidies for energy and food. Now, what he's doing is he's taking extraordinary security measures already. He's apparently deployed thousands of police officers, camped out in 2,000 separate locations throughout the capital of Tehran. They're armed with riot gear and tear gas. They're basically encamped in major squares and traffic intersections. The 5-year phase-out plan to end about $100 billion a year of food and energy subsidies provided to the citizens is going to begin on November the 30th. 65 million Iranians out of 75 million are going to be affected by this. So this is going to produce tremendous upheaval there. And we all remember what happened during the presidential election in Iran last year with that famous image of the young lady who was shot dead and died. So it's not going to be very helpful. In the reinsurance sector, some pretty big news. As promised, Stefan Lipp has cleaned house. He's tidied up, and he has paid back the Oracle of Omaha. He has paid back the convertible security that Warren Buffett at Berkshire Hathaway issued only 18 months after the loan was made. Swiss Re made the announcement as it reported net income of $618 million U.S. for Q3. It's up from $314 million for the year earlier. Their P&C operation had operating income of $1.1 billion, and they even had a combined ratio of 76.4%. This is despite a big hit of about $160 million U.S. from the New Zealand earthquake, the Christchurch earthquake. The amount paid back was, at the time, Buffett invested $2.58 billion. He has paid it back with a 20% premium plus interest. So Mr. Buffett has made a whale of an investment, as usual. Zurich Financial Services posted net income of about $3.4 billion for the first 9 months of the year. This is a drop of almost 20% from last year. Zurich noted that they had been impacted by a large number of catastrophes and weather-driven events. There was also a third quarter charge of about $300 million relating to the farmers' class action suit that was settled in October. They also, this is unusual, booked a goodwill impairment charge in Russia of $104 million. We've reported previously on the farmer settlement. We'll try to find out what that goodwill impairment charge in Russia was. As predicted, of course, in London now, SCOR, the French reinsurer, has confirmed its intention to enter the Lloyd's market with a turnkey syndicate for syndicate number 2011. They've appointed Tim Corfield, former Liberty Syndicates director. He's going to be the active underwriter. The turnkey services provider is going to be Whittington Capital Management. Corfield had left Liberty Syndicates about a year ago. Also, former AIG and Chubb executive Richard Harris will serve as the chief executive of the SCOR syndicate. Flagstone Re in Bermuda experienced a 91% year-on-year decrease in underwriting profitability. Its reinsurance segment suffered mainly from losses in the New Zealand Christchurch earthquake. As we previously reported before, they've taken some one-off charges, about $14 million worth, including a $13 million charge in a decision to sell corporate aircraft. Also a $2.2 million expense related to the severance package for former executive chairman Mark Byrne. We've got nothing against Mark Byrne. Mark Byrne served in a volunteer role as the head of the Bermuda Board of Education for a number of years, and he's definitely one of the good people in this industry. And I'm sure Flagstone will recover. They have a very good group of people. And with Gary Preston there and David Brown, I'm confident that they'll be fine. In the United States, we've noticed, and it's interesting getting a picture of the U.S. from abroad, President Obama appeared yesterday and said that he had been truly humbled by the election experience of Tuesday, and indicated, of course, that he was willing to work with the new Speaker of the House, John Boehner, who will become Speaker in January. British TV is literally agog with the whipping that Obama received and the alleged transition of power that's going on in the United States. We don't quite see it that way. We don't necessarily see that things will change too much, except now that the Republicans in the House of Representatives will be under the magnifying glass and will actually have to do something rather than continually objecting to all the president's plans. Finally, it seems that some light will be shown where it has not been shown before, in the darkness of their intentions. 5:10 p.m. tonight, we leave Heathrow Airport to fly back to Philadelphia. We'll be broadcasting from Princeton tomorrow morning. Wish everybody well. If we have any breaking news, we'll come back and tell you. In the meantime, thank you for watching. Good morning.